that I just have 2 of them. All right, brilliant. And let me get grain back as well. Wonderful. Bina came on briefly and then she went. Norma. Oh, yes, Bina. Oh, yes, Bina. Oh, no, this is great. Dang it. I was hoping. I get the ding-dong sound of somebody joining. That's not where I want to be. This is where I want to be. All right. Yeah. My internet dropped, Norma. Am I back? Norma? Yes, I am. All right. Wonderful. Yeah, my internet dropped there for a second. I did see Bina come on for a second, so I assume she'll be here soon. I was saying, Norma, that this idea of the past, it's the idea of it that puts the stress on us, not the reality. The past isn't physical, much as a ghost isn't physical. Same thing, yes? It's important to understand the difference. And in the poem, in the other poem, the first part of this, that's the poem is about this understanding. But then, as things go on, the aspirant learns. Dang it! I keep closing the thing I don't want to close. The aspirant learns, the aspirant grows, and this is we're seeing after some period of learning and growth and application. This poem now is about moreness and venturing into moreness, and it's a very complex, lots of stuff going on here, as I'm going to go through in a minute. Yes, you're sitting opposite me now. Wonderful. I'm having fun chatting with you, Norma. It's a great joy. All right. So to give this some context here, Norma, like I said, the Isle of the Dead isn't specifically necessary in this. It just happened to come up as that course that Bina and I were doing, an art course, art as a path to inner learning, right? And in that, one of the tasks and exercises we were given was to, I don't remember the specifics. I was hoping Bina would remember, but it had something to do with the Isle of the Dead. I don't remember the specific intent of the task, and it doesn't matter. I used it as a leveraging mechanism for an extended insight into the new nobility and their aspirations, their cosmology, their beliefs, their understandings, their moreness, etc. Yes, I wrote the poem, Norma. Yes. And also made the video, which has a lot of editing involved. It's taking videos that others made. There's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 different videos, maybe even more, that I edit and crop and put together. And like you see, I go in from the island and then you're going, but there's the pre-part where the sort of buildings collapse, right? Like your world falling apart, as it sense, and then you transport it into a different world. And the aspirant says this, right? That suddenly they find themselves in this. Now, of course, if you're going to the Isle of the Dead, by implication, you are dead. But then who's the one who's going to the Isle of the Dead? You see? So there's this layeredness to it. And we'll go through it as the poem goes on. And so I put together that's what I was saying. The poem is, it's its own thing in its own life, but also making of the video, that curating and deciding where to edit and bring this in and layering it and getting it together. There's a lot of work to make those videos, and a lot of art involved too. So it's not a simple matter. Thank you, Norma. Thank you. It's just application. It's not that I'm actually talented. I simply apply what little I have effectively, right? Best use of energy, in other words. Just from a lifetime of habit of practicing. It's not that I'm particularly talented, although I did enjoy this poem, and I don't enjoy all my poems. Some whatever, I have a few which I call real poems, and this is a real poem to me, because I can come back to it, and I do every now and then. I watch and listen to this video. I really enjoy it. I enjoy it very much. And it's sort of, it's like if you go too long without eating a certain food, then you build up a craving for it. That's exactly how this poem is for me. And the other one, both. And a few of the other ones that I've written. I'll read some more at some point. And some I put onto video as well, which is very cool. This even has a little part where Cher wrote something, and I made a video with her poem, and it's also using the same thing. Very cool. All right, let me open up this. Here we go. Now I'm going to read through it in detail and then go through the discussion of it, Norma, so that we have this in-depthness, of what it is that we're doing. Part 2, the me of when and more. Now, the first poem was called the me of now and then, right? So the when obviously is when in the future and more, right? This is, I would like a copy. Yes, certainly, Norma. I shall send you a copy. No problem. I'll put it in an email for you. Well, no time like the present. Oh, time like the present. If I don't do it now, then I might not remember. So sorry for you watching the video. It's a long poem, so a lot of scrolling. Let's see if I can get it to go down. It's, oh, there we go. Oh, not that long. Oh, there's a part 3, the being of me. I didn't realize that. Wow. You know what? I'm going to not send it to you right now. You know what, Norma? I'm going to send you all 3. I'll send you part 1, part 2, part 3, and I think there's a part 2.5. So I'll send them all to you. All right. The me of when and more. So when is to say, obviously, to bring this, the me of when, that our me isn't only now. We have other me's, right? And there's a me of more, right? So there's me, my me of when, me of more. There's also my me of then, right? Which is past. So we have past, present, future. We have possibility, moreness, option, right? All these different me's, and maybe there are two triplicates there. Birthday, Christmas, Easter, and birthday, Christmas, Easter, and New Year. The aspirant found Limo again, and again Limo waited. That's how the other poem starts, right? The me of now, the me of now and then. You'll see. I'll show you in a second. The me of then and now. An aspirant said to Limo, "I have been thinking." Limo waited. Right? So it starts off with the aspirant said to Limo, "I have been thinking." Limo waited. And that's it, right? That I have been thinking and waiting. So Limo is just an ear, a magical ear. Right? Very cool. New Year. Yes, exactly. And this is the story synopsis, which catches up. And I'm not going to go through the story synopsis again. It's what I'm saying. It's about moreness, about the philosophy, and so on. Again, I have been thinking, the aspirant began their journey of sharing. I think this is fairly obvious, right? And no more capital R reading needs to be here. Just in this epistrophe again, you see, we get the aspirant found Limo again, and again Limo waited. Again, I have been thinking, the aspirant began. Now we got 3 agains there. Now, in typical writing, one of the sort of writing no-nos is not to have close repeats. That's what they call close repeats. Yes, exactly. We've met Limo before, precisely. Limo is in the me of then and now. And Limo comes into the Biella series as well later on. So we have met her before. Yes, exactly. But I wanted to say just there in this opening line, right? We have this this epistrophe. And when you think of it, right, there's a skill to using these, right? Because if you just repeat words, they're kind of usually boring. But in this case, they really add to this, right? I mean, we could just say the aspirant found Limo, and Limo waited. Or let's just say we have one again, right? We have to choose one of those three. And again, Limo waited. I have been thinking, the aspirant began. I mean, let me just read that. Well, I'll just keep this one again. The aspirant found Limo, and again, Limo waited. I have been thinking, the aspirant began. It's okay. It's fine. But listen to it now with the other two agains added in. The aspirant found Limo again, and again, Limo waited. Again, I have been thinking. This now with that triple again, it is emphasizing that there is a repetition here. Limo finding the aspirant, the Limo waiting, and the aspirant thinking. These are repeated. Yes. If I only have one in there, well, then only the thing that it says on it, right? Or if I put it in the beginning, again, yeah, it doesn't mean all three. But the fact that it is repeated, but now, of course, going to be different, this is very significant because it implies, right, that there's lots going on in between from the time before to the time now, right, Norma? More going on, more going on. The aspirant began their journey of sharing. Now look to how, because of the opening lines, right? The aspirant found Limo again, and again Limo waited. Then we said, yeah, we continue this epistrophic theme of this repeat, because now you've got a cadence and a rhythm, right, that is being maintained. The aspirant began their journey of sharing. It changes how you read the line as opposed to just the aspirant began their journey of sharing. The aspirant began their journey of sharing. See, it puts that extra, it takes that and shifts it just with that slight delay. It's like in music where you have a thing, like a phrase of music, a little piece of music, and then just slightly after it starts, it comes in again afterwards. Yes, it's a double layering because but aspirant began and then began their journey of sharing. Your mind hears the first sentence say began their journey of sharing and takes out the second began. So it's a peculiar emphasis, but it gives a different rhythm, right? It's a rhythm that says, look, we start and then there's a little pause and then you allow things to accumulate and then you grab hold, right? My me of now wants to know about my me of when. See the epistrophe again. That same pattern is being repeated. The when of me, when and when. The when of me that is to be. Since what is not is me of then, and me of now is looking further into the more. Right? You see the same pattern being shared here, right? So I'm just talking about general writing and reading and going into the insight of what makes a poem. And for me, I really enjoy epistrophic poetry. It's something that I haven't really seen much anywhere. And it's sort of a style that's pretty much, as far as I know, it's not unique to me. I would assume it's out there, but I don't know of it out there anywhere. So I claim it as my style, right? It's something that I enjoy doing and therefore becomes my style. Now let's see what she says here. My me of now wants to know about my me of when. The when of me that is to be. This is what the aspirant and by implication, the new nobles, that's what they're all about. The me of when, the me that is to be, since what is not is me of then. Since I'm not my past, this is the continuation, right? The aspirant's been thinking, say, I'm not my past. Well, if I'm not my past, what am I? Yes. And what am I going to be? What am I now? Right? And since what is not is me of then, definitely not my thing, and me of now is looking further into the more. So the aspirant is very clearly saying, hey, I'm not my past and I'm not my present either, because my present is looking into the future as to what I could be. Yes, where I'm going, where I'm heading. And it's a very important point. Yes, it's what the new nobility are all about, right? They want to move into moreness. They say I can be more, and therefore I will be more. I have understood the aspirant, their eyes looking through time. What I learned from my ghosts. Now, yes, she's tying into the previous poem, but also look from the first stanza, right? Or I guess it's the second stanza. I mean, those are technically kind of connected, but technically, I guess this is the second stanza. Well, those first ones maybe just the introduction. I don't know if you can call it a stanza because it's so short. But look how the tempo shifts, right? If you listen to it. I'll just read the last three sentences and then you'll see. Since what is not is me of then, and me of now is looking further into the more. And you see there's that further into the more, and it drifts you somewhat, and it signals a change. I have understood the aspirant, their eyes looking through time. What I learned from my ghosts, is that me of now is a ghost. A ghost which can be mine as choice I choose to host. Yes, Norma, but don't feel guilty. We are enjoying, and this is just you and me. We're having a magical time here. Right, exactly. There is that little the little pause there after further into the more. I love doing this with you, Norma. You keep asking this, and I don't do this because I do it because people come. If you weren't here, I'd be saying the same things. I just much prefer it to say it to you and share it with you. No, so yeah, no, it's totally irrelevant who's here. I operate on different motivations and intents, Norma, and it's very important to understand. And this is part of the aspirants and the new nobility also. And I do consider myself an aspirant, or at least I aspire to be an aspirant, which makes me an aspirant, I suppose. But this has nothing to do with the usual reasons for doing this. I don't know why you feel guilty just you being here. Why? Why, Norma? It's a great joy for me that you're here. Why would you be guilty about that? No, 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 no. All right, let's get back to the poem here. Right, I have understood the aspirant, their eyes looking through time. And now I said there's that shift in the cadence and the rhythm and the pacing, right? Because she's coming to a very important point. What I learned from my ghosts, is that me of now is a ghost. This is a huge statement, and it's why it needs that change of rhythm, is to tell us, oh, something momentous is coming, right? I mean, pretty much every line here is almost as momentous. But to say that me of now is a ghost, this is an incredible thing, because the previous part of this was our me of then, the past, is a ghost. Yeah, but she's saying, wow, me of now is a ghost. But then she goes even further to compound this profound statement, to say a ghost which can be mine as choice I choose to host. Oh, no, Norma, it's not. It's not. Just enjoy. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to respond. I'm going to go through this anyway, Norma. I just prefer doing it with you here. It's a great joy that you're here. It's a great joy. Now, look at this line, Norma. Look at this line. Me of now is a ghost which can be mine as a choice I choose to host. Now, just the skill coming in. Yeah, I will give myself some pat on the back a little bit, because this ghost needs a rhyme here. Yes, now I've got the epistrophe, but host is obviously a rhyme to ghost. But in this context, host is also a synonym for ghost. Yes, it's also a synonym for, or a meaning of, a multitude. Yes, So there's a lot of nuance in using this word host. And also, she's saying it's a choice. I choose to host. Therefore, I'm taking she's saying in a very poetically beautiful way, in a very concise way, to say, I'm taking my me of now and saying my me of now is as insubstantial as a ghost. Because in the previous poem, we clearly determined ghost is insubstantial, can't do anything. She's saying my me of now, who I am, is in essence insubstantial. It's a nothing. But it's a nothing I choose as choice. I choose to host. And host, when you host something, you are the one who is essentially in charge of it, like when you host a party or an event, right? Or you're right, you're the host and something's a guest. She is making a profound statement to say that her me of now, who she is, in other words, who we are, we believe who we are is something that we don't have much choice about. But she's saying, whoa, wait a second. You don't even realize that you are hosting your me of now. It's a ghost, same as your me of then. Wow, what a profound statement. Yes. And the fact that it comes in this rhyme with the epistrophe, I mean, I just love this. What I learn from my ghosts, is that me of now is a ghost which can be mine as choice. I choose to host. Again, the epistrophe, right? And to me, the joy here is that this epistrophe is serving a purpose. It is getting that pause in the brain, that repetition, to say me of now is a ghost. If I just said which can be mine, no, a ghost which can be mine. Mine as choice. I choose to host, right? It's that emphasis that this is a very, very important point. It is a huge point. Now let's go further. Let's go further and see, right? What is this now all about? Now I'm saying again, the capital R reading skills. When we look at this and we just read it, and I want to hear, Norma, all right, you did say you thoroughly enjoyed, but did the poem itself make full sense to you in the way that I'm explaining now when you first heard it? Or was there like, maybe I don't quite understand it fully, that kind of a vibe going on for you in the beginning, yeah, or during the poem? I'm just saying that, you know, not everyone enjoys a poem until they know the poem. And then when you know the poem, you get so much more out of it. And this is the point of capital R reading. It is to get to that point where we can extract moreness from everything. When we learn to capital R read, we are, of course, developing the skills which allow us to capital H hear, capital P perceive, which means we get more out of life and love, right? I mean, capital R reading, capital H hearing, capital P perceiving, all of these are discernments, right? They're discernment skills. And the more we can discern, the more we can get out of life. It's very powerful. We can get that magic, right? Now look at this next line here from an but agreed Lemo. Now, wait a second. What do you mean, but agreed? Yes, just in that one little line is a fantastic, sophisticated implication. She's saying, but she's agreeing. Typically, but means is a disagreement. But because she's saying, but she is anticipating and she's feeling the rhythm of the aspirant, and she's hearing that there's a but coming, and says, I hear you, and I understand that there's a but, right? And the but isn't necessarily one of contrast and disagreement, but of alternative perspective of more, right? So Lemo is sharing a very sophisticated awareness of where this is going, right? But a future ghost is a ghost of choosing. A ghost I choose. This is a fantastic point. She's not only now said that her present self is a ghost, but so is the future, obviously. Yes, in a different sense to the past. Equally so, though, because, of course, the future self isn't real. So it's a ghost that you choose. Yes, a ghost of choosing, a ghost I choose. It's my choice, my choice, my choice. What we become thus, if we become aware that our future self is insubstantial right now, and it's something that I choose, and through my choosing, and as I adopt it and own it and use it, it becomes real, it becomes me. But it's still a ghost, because the me of now is also a ghost. And this is a very important point for the deeper poem that we come into later on, right? To understand that she is saying self is not real, little s self, right? She's saying that the bigger you is there's some part that is choosing this ghost of past, ghost of self, ghost of now, ghost of future. The part that does the choosing of these ghosts, that's the real you. Yes, not the selves, right? So the me of now, which is little s self, yes, it's a ghost. Me of when, future, ghost. Me of then, past, ghost. Yes. But a future ghost is a ghost of choosing, a ghost I choose. The aspirant pointed, pointingly Mo's gaze at what's to come. Behold the isle, Limo. Behold my me of then. Then I'm not alone. Me of then is there with me of now. Now, in this, if the poem were to be read alone without the pictures, the picture of the Isle of the Dead, you wouldn't know what this isle refers to. Right now, in the poem, as I made it as a post, it has, next to this, there are pictures without the video. They're just a picture of the Isle of the Dead, right? And then the reference now, behold the isle, makes sense. So you can't just have this without the visual. Now, isle is capitalized here, and all right, it's this, if you had no idea of what it is, then this might be lost a little bit here. But it doesn't matter really. I mean, if you don't know what they're talking about, does it matter to the point? Because the point is to behold my me of then. Then I'm not alone. Me of then is there with me of now. Now in the painting, let me see if I can pull it up from the video. Let's see. Uh, ah, this isn't. I'm gonna screen share here in a second. So stay with me, Norma. Stay with me, please. Stay with me. I love that you're here, Norma. I absolutely love it. I love it. If we look at this is very similar to the painting. Now, there's 5 versions of this painting by Bocklin himself. And of course, this has inspired many, many artists to do their own variations, including, very well-known artists like Salvador Dali. This one I can remember, the others, but I remember Salvador Dali in particular. And on these paintings, and this is very similar to one of Bocklin's, there's this rowboat with a rower the wrong way around. Very important point to me. Yes. Bocklin didn't understand rowing, because when you're rowing, they're going towards the island. A rower, as you probably know, Norma, because rowing, in England, you got those in the parks, and you can rent a rowboat and you can go out, right? You row backwards. Yes, you don't row forward. It's very clumsy to row forward. It doesn't actually work, as we're going to see in the video later, where they're actually filming this rower that the wrong way around, right? But see, it's somebody who doesn't understand something in painting. Bocklin obviously was never in a rowboat to paint it this around. But nonetheless, that's just me and observation. Again, capital R reading, it develops the skill of paying attention and looking at things as they are and seeing the consequence, the implications, yeah, and not just, oh, just accepting it. Most people will see this painting and not even notice that the rower is wrong way around, yeah. I mean, not that you can't row that way, it's just very awkward and clumsy, as we see in the actual film where they're filming real people rowing, right, in some of those clips that I made, that I extracted from here, you know, from the different videos that I put together. But look, there's 3 here. Yes, Norma, you see, there's the, I would assume this is, well, one is the me of then, obviously in the coffin, right? So this is likely the me of now, and me of when is, one would assume, somewhere over here. And this is the assistant, yes? Was they rowing you across, right? So, I mean, this the rower to take you the ferryman, you know, this is part of Greek mythology in the river Styx. And you pay them with a coin, which is why for the longest time when people were buried, they put a coin under your tongue, right? So that you were able to pay the ferryman to take you across the river Styx, because you couldn't swim across the river Styx. I get what happens to you if you try to swim, but on the other side is the land of the dead, right? Anyway, so this point is the 3, yes? Behold my me of
Behold the idly mode. Behold.
let me turn off the sound. How do I do that here? Where's the sound? Oh. Right. Behold my me of then. Then I'm not alone. Me of then is there with me of now, right? So the past is there with the present. All right. I'm going to go back to the poem. Leave this for the time being. Yeah. You know, I'll come back to it. So now we're actually getting to this. And somebody made this video, right? To say, hey, I want to make a video that actually shows what's on this isle. You actually get to go there because, of course, with the painting, you don't actually get to go there. It's just really well done and really cool that you actually get to go there, right? And of course, as the aspirant goes there, they have kind of a mystical experience, as we're about to discover. Right? You with me still, Norma? Right? Then I'm not alone. Me of then is there with me of now. At this point, she doesn't mention the aspirant, right? But she's pointing out that there's 2. The me of then in the coffin and the me of now. Limo nodded, her gaze shifting slightly. Yes, I am assisted. Now she mentions the assistant. And I am assisting my me of more. What a magical thing she says. Her me of more, which is not yet present, not yet there, but she is assisting the me of more by deciding what is the me of more, by determining what is the me of more, by making an effort to apply and be and practice what she wishes to be, and thus become the me of more. In other words, assisting the me of more. Yeah. So when we look at this again here, right? If we go back with the 3 in the boat, yes, that oh, where is it now? Oh, sorry, dang it, I can't get the exact spot. When we look at that, here we go. When we look at this in the boat here, right? It's a very profound point in the boat to say that there are 3 there, and she's saying that she's assisted, right? The aspirant is assisted. She's assisting her me of then, obviously, to take to the Isle of the Dead. Right? The me of then is dead and gone now. But also, she's being assisted with the assistant. And also, her as me of now, and I guess me of then also, this duo and future me of when is assisting me of more. Right? The triplicate is assisting me of more. So the 3 of them together are more by implication. Very, very powerful, very, very simple line. But boy, so much in that one little simple line, right? Yes, I am assisted. Capital A, assisted, you see. And I am capital A, assisting my me of more, capital M, more. Yes. Why, Limo? Why this need? Why need for two of me? Two, to journey to that isle. Two, to serve. And three, to brave crossing of that placid sea. Why, Limo? Yes, you would think that, and you see this in many paintings, especially in mythology. Yes, old mythological paintings, that the coffin is put on a boat and sent out into the ocean. Yes, there's never people on the boat with the coffin. Yeah, you go onto the river and you drift away, and that's it, right? And sometimes they put the coffin on the river or the corpse in the river, right? Typically, that it's alone, because, well, if you're off on your to the Isle of the Dead, what are the living doing here going to the Isle of the Dead? Yeah, Norma? See, makes sense, yes? So the aspirant is querying this. She's again paying attention. She's being very discerning, very observant, and looking at implications. She's not just saying that, oh, there's three in the boat. That's just observation. But to really be discerning is to look at the implications of it. Yes. Why this need? Why need for two of me? The two is the me of then, the coffin, and then the me of now, right? Why the need for two of me to journey to that isle? Two, to serve. And three, to brave crossing of that placid sea. Why, Limo? Now, when she says two, to serve, right, she's saying me of now is serving me of then. The assistant is serving both, right? Transporting them across. Yes. So there are three present, but two that are serving. A very nice, clever little play of words here, right? In this part of the poem. Yeah. Why this need? Why need for two of me? Two, to journey to that isle. Two, to serve. And three, to brave crossing of that blessed sea. Now she's saying three, to brave, in others implying that the coffin is sort of, it's on its journey to a new place and a new moreness, and it's also braving this adventure. Kind of an implication that the me of then is not as dead as we might think it to be. Yes, as we know, it's a ghost too. Why, Limo? Crossing of that passage. Why, Limo? Limo waited on that crossing. Now, this crossing is a double meaning. It's not just this crossing, obviously, of this across to the aisle, but the crossing of the aspirant into a new point, into a new awareness, a new understanding. Yes, why? A limo floated at the aspirant. I just like this floated here, rather than just said or shared or whatever. Floated at the aspirant. This when we look at this at the video too, with this crossing of this placid sea, right? They're floating, obviously, right? I mean, they're floating on the boat. They're kind of going across slowly, floating. I just enjoy that type of thing in poetry, where it's an artistic usage of saying something rather than just saying, oh, Limo said to the aspirant. That's boring. This is what poetry is, that you get to use floated instead of said, right? And there's a moreness to it, an implication, a layeredness. This is the joy of poetry, that layeredness, that connectedness, right? And also floating implies that mood, that otherworldly mood of when death and ghosts involved, floating, ghosts float, right? Why? Because you are not two, you are not three, yet three is, and is yet the me of thee. Ha! I just, again, to me, I enjoy this. This is just beautifully said. Very simple, but very nuanced, very layered, and philosophically very profound, psychologically very profound, right? So first of all, she's asking, why are there two, and why are there three? Yes, why is there more than one? Why is there not just a coffin? Why? Because you are not two, right? You're not just the you of now and the you of then, right? You're not just your past and your present. And then she says, you are not three, which is past, present, and future. Yet three is, and is yet the me of thee. So he's saying the thee is the greater me, the me of thee, as in our communion, right? You and me, Norma. When we say regularly, we're not really different. We're part of the all. Yes, therefore we are one. As we just drops from an ocean, and when we consider ourselves ocean, then we are one. But we are drop one, drop two, and the ocean. It's a three. You see? So she's laying out this coexisting contradiction, this counterbalancing conundrum here of the fact that we aren't two, that we know for sure. We're not past and present. But we aren't two as in either or. We are more. Yet, but we aren't that either. So, right, you are not three, yet three is, and is yet the me of thee. So she's saying three is now, and is yet as in to come, the me of thee. Yeah. So we're going to have this moreness, which is the me of more, right? Which is coming to add to the current, right? This is, it's so layered, so much just in this little tiny stanza here. Yes. That because yet three is, that's the commas too are important. Yet three is, right? Not yet three is, yet three is. There's that little pause after the comma that is a big significance, right? And is yet the me of there. So it is now and it is in the future. This is poetry to me, really. I feel this is what poetry is about. This layeredness, this nuancedness. Where are you, Norma? Are you here? Are you listening? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm assuming you're here, Norma, snoring away, what happily there, listening to me. Putting you to sleep. If I do, I hope you have a wonderful snooze, a good nap. The aspirant stretched into then. See, now I feel that to me, when you say the aspirant stretched into then, it adds something to that stretching, right? You didn't just stretch, she stretched into then. But if I said the aspirant stretched into then, that's a different thing. Right, that's then you're only sort of saying the figurative, but this is the aspirant stretched physically. She's stretching psychologically. She's stretching emotionally, and she's also, because when you just say the aspirant stretched, that implies, or at least in poetry language, it's always multi-layered, right? We don't know if this is only physical, right? I mean, physically stretching, yes, okay, but we also know that because the aspirant is reaching for more, it's also psychological, it's also emotional, right? It's also spiritual, philosophical, in every way, because look, it's a capital S stretched. Yes, the aspirant stretched. Now, why add the second line there, stretched into then? Because typically when we think of stretching, we don't think of stretching into time, or stretching in time, whether it be forward or backward. We don't connect, typically we do not connect stretching with time. Yeah. If you just say, oh, you know what, I really stretched myself, time is not an issue in there, right? You stretched while you were doing it, and during the experience, etc., right? And the stretching is a physical thing, psychological, emotional. But we typically, when we think of stretching, we think of the physical, like an elastic or fabric stretching, right? It's contained. It's not a time issue. But when you think in that next line, the aspirant capital S stretched, comma, pause, new line, stretched into then. Wow. Wow. Now we're doing an entirely different thing. Now the stretching, she's doing all that other stretching and stretching into then. Yeah. This is magically powerful. Yeah. I'm seeing you on 3 screens, says Norma. Up and down. All my comments have disappeared. Happened when I gated you the first time. Norma, I'll send you the link again. Hold on, and then just go to the link and get it from there. Yeah, and then you'll have it all again with the comments. Yeah, just click on the link again. All right. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. All right. Yes. Well, there are multiple screens that I'm showing you my window. Yes. So you will see your own comments. You're going to see the video, and you're seeing the poem, right? So different times we are seeing. I don't know if that's what you mean with 3 screens or not, but yes, in a way. Yeah. So there's all of these 3 different things are on the same screen. But anyway, just click on the link again, and then you'll see the comments on the right hand side. Yeah. And then you'll see a little bit of doubleness too. Yeah. Because if I open this up, this is what you see. Yes. And then inside this, when I do, when I show other things behind me, right? Because I have screen share on, so you see what my desktop says. This is currently on my desktop now, right? You see, and then you on the side here. So, but I make this smaller so that it's not confusing. All right. So just trust it, Norma. Just click on the link and then know you're there, and then just comment on the right-hand side there. That's all. That's all. Don't worry too much. All right. I love this line. The aspirant stretched into then. I mean, right there, one can leave it. Right? Right there is profound. But there's more. The then of yearning, the then to come. Again, the then of yearning, which implies their deep heart, their aspiration, why they're called an aspirant. That this is more than just an aspiration. It's a yearning. It's a deepness. It's a soul point. Yeah. The then of yearning, the then to come. It also says that, this an inevitability to this, the then is coming, which the then is coming. But the capital T then, yes, and come, capital C come. The then to come, it becomes its own thing. The then to come is its own entity now. On landing there on that beach of bare soul, bare bone, bears alone, complete alone, I stood. Ah, man, this I just love the poetry of this line, right? Now let's go back and look at this. Now different paintings. This one doesn't have a beach, but on some other paintings there's a bit of beach over here in by this wall, right? This one doesn't have it, and some have the bit of beach just here by the steps, right? So this refers to some of the other paintings. But also when you beach, right, whether it's actual beach or not, you coming ashore, right? So when they land on the steps, you see there was a glimpse right here. You see, it's so fast, these things come. All right, I'll pause it as it comes. We're going to see an alternative painting by somebody else, right? Yeah, it comes very quickly. This is by somebody else inspired. And yeah, they are going to actually come to a beach, you see. So not everybody has the same painting. I just used that one because it matches the video, but they somehow have an actual beach, yes. And so as we go, they come to this beach, I think, yeah. And now I'm going back a little bit here. I'm jumping a little bit in time because this has got that dreaminess to it. Okay, here we see the rower. And you see how clumsy they have to row when you're rowing forward. You have to push on the oars. It's just like weird. You see how awkward that is. You see how awkward that is. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it's a very tiny little person for those big oars. The aspirant stretched into then, the then of yearning, the then to come. On landing there on that beach of bare soul, bare bone, bare as alone, complete alone I stood. I love this. I love this as a point of emphasis in the poem, as a point of poetry. Yes, I'm going to read that again. That now it's saying that she or the aspirant or you, the soul, when you get there on this, you're alone, right? But look how the emphasis of alone, right? On landing there on that beach of bare. Well, it's just a bare beach. All beaches are bare in a sense, right? Bare soul, Not just that the beach had nobody in. Bare soul, bare bone, bare as alone, complete alone. Right? Bone obviously had to rhyme with alone, but still it gives that, there are many other things you can use that rhyme, right? But to find ones that have some meaning, bare soul, bare bone, it's like right down to your bare bones. Right? Obviously, when you're a corpse, yeah, after a while you become bare bones, right? Just bones, right? That's the meaning of saying down to your bare bones, yeah. Bare as alone. What a phrase! Just that. Bare as alone. Just in itself, those three words. That to say, I'm bare on that beach of bare as alone. How much more bare is there than alone? Not. This is like an extreme of alone. Complete alone I stood. Now, we can take complete to being not just meaning that I'm completely alone. It's not completely alone. Complete alone. How else could complete alone be meant? Yes, it can be meant in the context that when we understand that we have a moreness, our aloneness is complete, as in complete when you have independence of being, and that alone is appropriate in the circumstance. There's no more needed than being alone. See, complete alone. I stood. So alone now is not a negative. It's simply saying I'm purified, bare soul, bare bone, bare as alone, complete alone, not incomplete alone. That's when people suffer being alone. That would be incomplete alone. But when you have independence of being, alone is complete. There's no more needed, right? Now, the aspirant says, on landing there on that beach of bare soul, bare bone, bare as alone, complete alone, I stood. Now we have a different understanding that they're not standing there alone, all fearful and trembling, and oh, woe is me. No. This is a claiming of power. When your soul is bare, when you down to your bare bones, there's no excuses, there's no BS, there's no nonsense, there's no layers, there's no baggage. It's a freedom. Yes, bare as alone, complete alone. I stood. Yay! In other words, yes, power. And of course, we come to this, right? Look at the picture here of this woman in the thing. This is not a timid, afraid, scaredy cat, weepy, wimpy, self-pitying, feel sorry for me. No, right? This is an aspirant. This woman's got some power here, right? At least by implication. When we're seeing her, she's not afraid and timid. She's on an adventure here, but she's not also being like sometimes you can be on an adventure simply because you're being scatterbrained and you don't know what you're doing. No, this is a deliberateness. There's a sobriety to this character, and as this character in this little snippet moves, we see this. There's a determination, a sobriety, a thoroughness, a deliberateness to her, right? So let's run it a little bit here and I'll read. Standing, I knew only one more step, and knew I could step only that step, as never can we step past one, not until that step of one is a step rightly done. Now you see again there, we got that glimpse of her face, yes? Look at this. This is a face that is happy and content and complete and sober and empowered. Alone is not a problem. It is questing, it is looking, it is understanding, it is aware. Yes, that's very good face, very good face. You see, very nice. And I want to go back to this little point here. It's a very powerful philosophical point, right? He says, bare as alone, complete alone. In other words, I've got myself together. I'm not afraid of being alone. Alone is a completeness, not a negative. It's a positive, in other words. I stood, me and my me of then, right? In other words, her and the coffin. Now comforted by a lonely wood. If we go back a little bit more, when you land on that beach, there's that little wood on right there, right? That lonely wood. Standing, I knew only one more step. This is where we are in life. We only know of one more step. Oh, wonderful, Norma. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm glad you're back again, Norma. I'm glad you're back again. I'm glad you're back again. Hello, wonderful Norma. Hello, 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 hello. All right, I'm just continuing through the poem, Norma, and I'm saying that there on that beach of bare soul, bare bone, bears alone, complete alone, I stood. And it's important to understand here, complete alone isn't completely alone. The two are two entirely different things. When we typically say I was completely alone, it's typically meant in a self-pitying way, oh, woe is me, blah, blah. No, in this case, it is bare soul, bare bone, bears alone. All pretense is thrown away. All layeredness is thrown away. All stuff that baggage is thrown away. I don't need to carry all that stuff that I think. I'm just being raw and pure me. But my me then, with all the stuff removed, it's complete. I'm alone and I'm complete. This is independence of being. It's not a negative, it's a positive. Right? And as we saw there in the view of the character in this, it's a separate video to the one going to the aisle. It's two different videos that are mixed together. Right? We see the character. All right, that's okay. I'm still here. I didn't move on to it because it's such a deep point. Right? But I'm moving here now where she says, I stood, me and my me of then, her in the coffin, now comforted by a lonely wood, standing, standing, standing on its own line. Right? When we have standing, what does that mean? Yeah, it means that we have a moreness, that we have some value, that we've acquired something, right? You take a stand, right? That you have some independence of being to be able to take a stand, right? You can't have standing if you don't have some measure of independence of being, right? Well, not easily anyway. So standing, in other words, claiming, being me, being more, right? Very simple, one word saying so much. This is why capital R reading of poetry is so huge. When we get to that layeredness, oh, wow, oh, I never thought of it that way. Oh, wow, so cool. Right? Just that one word, cool, because it's got a comma. See, it's on online. Standing. I knew only one more step. And this is what we have in life. We have our standing, which is our impeccability, our integrity, our ethics, right? From a new nobility point of view, this is what gives them standing, yes? Is their ethics, their impeccability, right? Their integrity, their nobility. Yeah? But no matter what you do, you can only know the next step ahead of you because in life, the step is now, it's all you can see. We can maybe imagine what step 2 is going to be, but we never know actually. We only know what we can do now because now is going to do the taking of the step of now and determines the next step, right? The future is created by us taking the step, whatever the step is, yes? And I knew only one more step. I knew I could step only that one step. She's not saying there is only one step, but that she can only step one step. Why? Not because it's physically impossible to step 2 or 3 steps, which it is in life, as never can we step past one, not until that step of one is a step rightly done. She's summarizing Way of Impeccability. Yes, we can take the step, but if you do it poorly, if you're not prepared, if you're not thorough, if you're not impeccable, in other words, if you're not diligent and conscientious and scrupulous and all of those things, right? And you don't think things through to the end, you don't multiple perspectives, etc., etc. If you don't do the step rightly, you're taking a chance because there are lots of things to do in taking a step. Only when you've done them all rightly, when you've been impeccable, in other words, then only can you move on to the next step because now you've taken care of everything that needs to be done. Now you're ready for what's more. If you rush this and you start going ahead of things, well, you haven't finished all you do. Of course, it's going to catch up with you later on, correct? It's like you go on an adventure. Step 1 is preparation. Well, don't prepare properly and go on your adventure. Ah, man, I should have finished my packing because now I need that, whatever. See, you're going to now regret it later on if you're not impeccable in taking step one. And same with step two. Every step needs to be a step rightly done. And always the step we are on is step one. No matter where you are in life today is step one of the rest of my life. Yes. And today is step one of the rest of my life. It is a step that needs to be rightly done. Yeah, if you don't do the steps right, then you don't get the next step. Yes, life is a step too. Do it right so that when you go to the next step, it actually goes somewhere and it's not a mess. Yeah, won't implode on you. Very, very profound philosophical point here. Yes, I knew only one more step and knew I could step. Only that one step, as never can we step past one, not until that step of one is a step rightly done. I think sometimes, like in life, the universe will not allow you to step past step one until it is a step rightly done. Yeah. And I think in life, we get to repeat that step. And I was talking to this with somebody earlier. We we're talking about death. And to say that to me, life is preparation for death. Yes, it's also enjoying life, both together. But you can't ignore death and you can't ignore life. So you have to make both maximized. Yes. But if we start to look at death as a desired outcome, as something we are preparing for that's positive, as a step two, but only a step two that's going to be there if I do step one right. So I've got to live right in order for step two to happen. Yeah. It's a very profound point, very nuanced, very subtle, very layered, much, much, much in this. And this, of course, is the new nobility. They who seek to step into step two, but not until that step of one is a step rightly done. So the entire new nobility lives is a rightly done life. A rightly done life. Yes, this is their ideal. Now, a rightly done life doesn't mean that you do everything right. It's two different meanings. Rightly done doesn't mean it's the right thing necessarily. Yes, or you got it right. No, you could make mistakes and it's still rightly done. In other words, being impeccable. Rightly done, not done right. Yes, well, I suppose you could say it's done right in one context. But what I mean is if you're being impeccable, it doesn't matter if you make a mistake, you've been impeccable, rightly done. Yeah, impeccability. I stepped the one and stepped another one. And there, on that isle of them, I did ensconce my wooded me. Finished, I did seek to tree. Yes, it's one of my favorite points here. Not that I have favorites, but this is awesome, right? So she's stepping that one and stepped another one. And there on that Isle of Then, the Isle of Dead, the Isle of Then. Yes, she calls it the Isle of Dead, or the Dead is the Isle of Then. I did ensconce, in other words, put away, put something around it, and put inside something. My wooded me. In other words, the me in the coffin, right? Isn't a coffin a wooded? Yeah, you're putting wood around. You see a wooded me, me made into wood, right? Just a clever way of saying she put away the coffin. Yes, because that's taking it to the aisle. It's there, right? Finished. I did seek to tree. Now, for the new nobility, to tree is a verb that they use on a regular basis. Think about this. What does to tree potentially mean? Yeah, Bina? Norma, I mean, sorry. Norma? If I said to you, Norma, I'm going to tree. Norma, would you like to tree with me? Or Norma, maybe, I suggest that it's time for you to tree. What would you take that to mean? What do you imagine to tree could mean? Are you there, Norma? Yes. Any ideas on what to tree could mean? If not, to say no, and I'll carry on. I don't want to be preemptive. I want to be interactive with you. It's a great joy to be interactive. And also anybody listening. Yeah, to tree, not treat, to tree. Yeah. So to tree would be, in other words, to be like a tree. Now, a tree can't move, which means that a tree needs to develop contentment with itself. If you completely and utterly content, then you don't care if you can move or not move. Yes. Also, a tree is connected. It has to be. So to tree is to be connected. A tree has, by its very nature, got stance and standing. Yes. I mean, a tree is not a floppy thing. It's right, like like with a subtle stem that can bend and flow. It does, but it's got standing, right? It's not like a reed that just bends. Yes. I mean, I guess some trees, but not the trunk, right? Even a willow, the branches may move, but the trunk is strong and sturdy. Yeah. All right. So a tree is got solidity and flexibility and fluidity. What a profound way. And a tree is very connected to its environment. It is responsive to the environment, right? It grows relative to the nutrients in the soil and the water. But yet it is complete. It is complete alone. Yes, a tree is alone and it's complete. Doesn't need any more. It's complete. So to tree is to get into that space of Zen. Yes, it's exactly. Right? That space of Zen, that space of moreness, that space of self-contentment. In other words, independence of being. If you don't have independence of being as a tree, you're going to have a miserable existence. Correct? That will not be fun. In other words, when we say to tree, it is to claim your own self and your moreness and connect it. Yes. Most people do, Norma. Most people do. Right? So to tree is a very profound skill that we don't practice enough. When you really think through meditation, when you are meditating, you are making an effort to tree. Right? It's the same thing. To feel, to be without thinking. Yes. Without having agendas, without having ambitions, goals. Yes. You're complete within yourself. Right? Completeness to tree. And there on that isle of then I did ensconce my wooded me. Finished, I did seek to tree. And there, not one, but three, amidst the many, calling to my me, where I did seek to ponder if now perhaps I might be free. So much going on in the stanza, so much going on, right? So she's in this, right? She's in this little lonely wood, right? And then she took care of the coffin, either buried it or put it in one of those crypts or whatever she did with it. And then she seeks to tree. And there, not one, but three trees amidst the many in the wood, calling to my me, where I did seek to ponder if now perhaps I might be free. What has she just done? She's just laid to rest her me of then, right? This wounded me, that's the me in the coffin, which is the me of then, which is now dead and gone. It wasn't dead and gone before because it was a ghost, but now she's laid it to rest. It's done. It's ensconced, it's done. And now she can ponder if I might be free. She's not saying I'm going to ponder my freedom, taking that as a given, to ponder if now perhaps I might be free. She takes nothing for granted, absolutely nothing. Yet I was not, as I was no more. This is a very very, very significant little sentence here. It's saying, as I was no more. Like you might say, I was no actor. I was no comedian. See, in that sense, right? Not no more, but it's also the doubled layer, because she's saying, I was no more. My me of then is dead. See? But she's saying, yet I was not free, even though I was no more. Even though the past is dead, I'm still not free. But also, I'm not free because I am not as yet a more, capital M more. Yeah. So double, triple layered there, very meaningful. And then limo, right then on this momentous knowing, this understanding of my I as law, me understanding my I is law. Ah, what a beautiful statement. Now, what is law? What is law? Law is grand story, right? Law is a synonym for myth, but it has a different implication to it, and a slightly different nuanced meaning to myth. The law of something is that backstory that explains the something and particularly makes the something to be kind of special and fun and beautiful and wonderful. Yes, like the law of the Celts or whatever, right? It's a moreness. It's not as in mythology, which is an aggrandizing. Yes. All right, some law does do that, but typically the law is an explanation of where you're coming from. Yes, and the moreness of where you're coming from, right? Which is kind of a cool thing. So law is typically more beautiful, more depth, backstory, but positive moreness. It's the moreness from the past. Yes. And when we say our I is law, we're saying our I is this story, this deeper story that is law, which law is not necessarily truth. Yes, the law of things is that which we've sort of created retroactively to explain and give something a moreness in the now. Yeah, and it may or may not be true. Yes, much like myths, it may or may not be true, right? And typically isn't, right? And we know this because it's kind of like a positive view on things that we take in order to give it a specialness, moreness, right? And we like to believe, we choose to believe, we want to believe. Yeah. Now, she's saying very beautifully, in a very beautiful way, that yes, my I is law. To understanding of my I as law, first of all, to realize this is that when we think of our I as law, wow, that's a profound point, because now we realize this is something that's sort of created. It connects backwards. It's built on the past, but it's romanticized. It's added to, and positive moreness put in there. But my I is law. In other words, my I is not real, which is what she said before already. Yes, I is also a ghost. Yeah, but now she's saying, rather than saying a ghost, like in the past, we understand this, but to say my I is law, this takes this point of something that has value and is real. The law is real, but also not. Right? The abstract part of it is real, but it's not actually real as in historical fiction or truth. Yes, because then it would be history. Yes, so law is different to history. Right there, limo, there, just past those 3 trees of the past. There opened to my me of more. There beckoned a portentous door. Yes, limo, a door. The door of no more. Yeah, this is again layer upon layer upon layer, yeah, just nuanced meaning, yes. So those three trees of your, the past, right? And of your is not only the past, but your means past, like as in law, right? It's connected, right? So the law of the past, your, right? Story. They're opened. And the three trees being these three pillars of who we are, present, past, and future. So this limo is making a continuous point here. There's more to past, present, and future. They open to my me of more. Right? Now, what was the name of the poem? The me of when and more. And more. We have the me of then, me of now, and the me of when, past, present, and future. But there's a fourth more, a fourth me, the me of more. Yes, the me of more, which is your overview me, which is your real me. Yes, there beckoned a portentous door. Yes, limo, a door, capital D door. The door of no more. The more that the aspirant is now, this door says, no, you've got to let go of this. Yeah. Also let go of the past, right? So it's a dual, triple meaning here of no more, right? Right. And there also, this is a door where there isn't moreness that you would think of it regularly. No more, right? Also the door of being no more what you were, the letting go of what you are. Yes. Not your past, but what you are. Yes. To be no more is to not be. Yes. Whatever it is that you are. Now, if you currently are a more and you have to let go of this, this is what this door is asking. The door of no more. It's a bit of a foretelling here. You know, I mean, I can say this because, well, I know what's coming, but right here, we can only take it maybe in some of the meanings, not in that meaning of letting go necessarily. The moreness that she's already has acquired. The store says that she doesn't realize it quite fully then yet, but still, it's the door of no more. I paused. Paused, capital P pause, as somebody said earlier. Paused with all of self still there. Paused with all of self still there. As power joined to carefully bind my inner core. The doorway having no door, no frame, nothing more than shimmer, reflecting through that wooded glimmer. So now there's this portal of energy opening up, in other words, right? It's not a door in the usual sense with a frame. No, it's just the shimmer. But it is carefully, it's beckoning, and it's power that she's realized there's power to this. There's moreness. The universe is, in other words, involved, right? As power joined to carefully bind my inner core. Because now when the universe gets involved, your inner core gets into the act. It's now a different category to when I'm just operating according to my outer core, outer self, which is my usual self. I'm doing things on an ordinary scale. When power gets involved, power doesn't care about my outer self. That stuff doesn't mean anything, as we've said right in the beginning. Yes, that the past is a ghost, present is a ghost, future is a ghost, but a ghost that I choose. Present is a ghost that I choose. But those are still ghosts. When power joins, it skips past those ghosts and goes to your inner core, right? The doorway having no door, no frame, nothing more than shimmer, reflected through that wooded glimmer. Yeah, and this is just to create atmosphere, right? Well, of course, you got the rhyme too, but man, you know, you can imagine this. You can picture the shimmer out there reflecting through that wooded glimmer. Come, 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 claim your claim. Says the portal, says power, not the portal, right? Because power is now joined, right? And power speaks to us, yes, through attunement. When we learn how to listen to the world, it speaks to us all the time, yes. The language of the world is a very profound language that we need to learn. We need to learn. And part of this capital R reading is this, the language of more, which is the language of the world, or one of them. When we have the ability to capital R read, we have the ability to hear different languages, like the language of the world, right? Language of the wind, language of love, language of the heart, or many different languages, right? Language of music, language of action, all sorts of different languages, right? Language of poetry, which is what we're also doing now. Dang it, ants. Hell said you must be in here now. Ants in my sugar. All right, there we go. At least we got some of them out. I don't mind them too much. Now it says, come, 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 claim your claim, says power. What claim could this be? Yeah. So far, the aspirant is, or has been, and is no longer the me of then. Yes. So that's set aside. That the me of then has been laid to rest. And the me of now and the me of when are both ghosts. Ghosts of choosing, yes, but nonetheless, still ghosts. Right. What does that leave? That leaves the me of more, which the me of more is a claim. The aspirant has clearly stated in many different ways that to them there's a more that they wish to claim. And now this is power saying, here we go. This is what you want. This is your intent. This is your heart's desire. This is your moreness. Come claim your moreness. Come claim your claim to moreness. Come claim your claim. I like alliteration as well as epistrophe, by the way. And I also like assonance or assonance, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I never quite knew. Alliteration is the repetition of consonants, and assonance or assonance is the repetition of vowels, right? Just to get a little bit nerdy here. I'm not a deep grammar nerd. There's much that I don't know at all. Just because I know alliteration, assonance, and epistrophe, it doesn't mean that I know the whole range of it. Oh no, there's lots and lots in this stuff when it comes to language and grammar that I don't know. Tons of it. I mean, I couldn't probably give you I couldn't. I know I can't. Like to say exactly what the gerund is. I have no idea. I don't even know more or less what the gerund is. It doesn't impact me. It doesn't make any difference. I just remember what's useful to me, I must tell you. I'm going over the messages in a moment. You don't need to, Norma. You didn't miss much, really. I was just elaborating on the same point while you were away. So you didn't miss anything. Right? And that point of the bare bones, bare soul, it just has a resonance to the ear. Bare on that beach of bare. Bare soul, bare bone, bare as alone, complete alone. I can even quote the lines. I very seldom can quote lines from my own poems, right? Or from my own writing. Never mind other people's things. It's just something that was never important to me to quote lines. It always seemed like a bit of an affectation for the most part that when people are quoting. And I do not care for affectation in the least. Not one iota. Nope. Thank you very much. Not for me. Not interested at all in affectation, not in the least. But this is, I remember it because it's very beautiful. Yes, when you were away, I was on that one stanza only. That's it. I was just going over it in different ways because there's so much to it, right? And there on that beach of bare, I just love the rhyming poetry as well. Bare soul, bare bone, bare alone, right? Complete alone, right? Bone alone, beach, bare, I don't know. Just, I love it. Love it. It's just too cool. It's too cool. And it creates a mood too. And this is part of the writing of this poem. I feel I put a lot into this. Part of the intent was to use language that doesn't have a that's not anachronistic. In other words, that throws you out of the time loop. Yes. In other words, if I were to say, put in a word like phone, right? I pulled out my phone there on that beach of complete alone. Okay, it rhymes, but now suddenly you're in a different time. You're in a time that they're phones, right? A phone has implications, right? You're shifting out of time. This language puts you in a time that is not a time, right? It could be in the past. It could be anywhere in history. It could be in the future. It doesn't matter, right? It's out of time. And the language that gets used is very important to have out of time. A word like glimmer, this is a non-time specific word. Yes, shimmer, glimmer, right? This is a doorway, right? Door is a bit more particular. Frame is a bit more particular. But doors and frames have been around all throughout history, and I suspect might go into the future to some extent. Not always, but to some degree, right? So language is very key to creating a mood, and phrasing as well, right? When you say, come, claim your claim. Again, this is not something that you would likely hear in your everyday interactions from somebody. Yes. When they say, come, claim your claim, right? That especially in that way, come, claim your claim. It's a mood that takes you again out of time. Yes. Stepping to the portal bright, I stepped, and in that moment of my step, I felt through a water not quite wet. Now this is I felt through. It's I fell through. I felt through. You can imagine this portal as the energy there is like a waterfall kind of a thing, right? But it's not quite wet, so it's not water, right? It's energy, obviously. An essence curtain, right? That now she elaborates a little bit, right? She's using this as a metaphor to give you the idea that there's this shimmer. It's like this waterfall, but like of energy, and she right, instead of water. So she steps through it, but she felt through it. As she is going through it, she feels. There's a feeling of going through this, right? So when she says, I felt through it, right? And also fell through it. It's very cool. But she's feeling her way through it and feeling as she goes through it, both, right? I felt through a water not quite wet. An essence curtain pulling at my spirit, revealing I was no unshackled, capital U. No, not yet. Now, she's making a very, very subtle, deep point, which at this point she doesn't quite yet connect, but says anyway, right? Which is the magic of the poetry. She knows things she doesn't quite know, yet know. An essence curtain pulling at my spirit, revealing I was no unshackled. The very fact that essence curtain, that energy curtain, that she felt it, that it pulled on her spirit, means she was not unshackled, which means that there was stuff in there still that this essence could pull at, like resistance. She wasn't free of everything then. She had, in other words, a little bit of baggage still with her, yes? I was no unshackled, capital U. And by implication, to be an unshackled is something that is necessary because, or desired or appropriate in the circumstance, because if she wasn't unshackled, there wouldn't have been that pulling at the spirit. She would have just gone through like nothing, right? And when she was, in other words, to be completely empty of all of these ghosts. Yeah, a ghost still has that. Why a ghost is, yes, they're insubstantial, but they're also a ghost. You can still see something because they have lingering stuff that they haven't let go of yet, right? That's the typical understanding of a ghost. It's an energy that's lingering. It hasn't let gone. A ghost is by definition a spirit that is still shackled, to whatever, resentment, anger, justice, whatever. Yes. A ghost is still shackled. Yeah. A ghost cannot move on. Yes. So that's what she's saying here. She's still got some ghostness in her. No, not yet. Not yet, by implying that unshackled is to come. Yes. I mean, it's by implication, it's a positive. It might not be, but we have to take it as such. Yes. Especially since it's capitalized. Not one to flinch from press. In other words, not one to shy away from responsibility. I pressed. I took on my responsibilities further into that wasteland yond. You see again, wasteland and yond, the terms that are time out of time, moreness, law terms, right? Myth terms, story terms, poem terms, but out of time specifically. A nothingness filled with weight. Each step heavy, heavy, heavier to heavier with each stress. Now she's saying she's stepping through into this wasteland, other side the portal. It's a nothingness, but yet it's filled with weight. Each step heavy, heavy, heavier to heavier with each stress. Now, in this mythology here, I am in this poem, right, we've already got the Isle of the Dead. And I don't know if I've touched on Goethe yet or others. But yeah, I am touching in, it doesn't matter to the poem, but just for a little bit of extra fun, I am touching on Don Juan and his cosmology, the Don Juan in Carlos Castaneda's books. And I'm specifically saying Don Juan and his cosmology and his understanding of how everything works, not Carlos's, right? Because Carlos may be the author of the books, but what Don Juan says has nothing to do with Carlos. Carlos, yes, he's Don Juan's apprentice in the books. And as such, he's learning about all of this, but it's still Don Juan's cosmology. And in Don Juan's cosmology, there is this barrier between the worlds, which is this great big energy curtain that runs from horizon to horizon. And if you get to a certain point of your stage of apprenticeship and learning, you see this, but at first you only see it when you turn your head, it turns with you. And you have to learn to kind of hold it still so that you can look directly at it. And then you got to cross through this portal and you got to cross the plane. And then there's this barrier and there's this wasteland and another barrier, and it's the barrier between the worlds. Now, this wall isn't the barrier itself. The wasteland is really the barrier, right? The barrier just contains the wasteland. Correct. That Don Juan I did in one of the shares with others. Yes. Goethe's coming. I mentioned him earlier, but just briefly. In that Goethe was one who was inspired by the poem and he wrote the whole thing that's related to it, at least by the painting. Wrote the whole extended poem, I believe. It's coming in the realm of the mothers. I think that's the name of his poem, The Realm of the Mothers. Or at least he wrote a poem about going to the realm of the mothers, which is this area, the space in which whatever you wish for, you want, becomes real, right? And he goes, but he's very petty, and he basically, I think he wants to impress a girl or something, and it completely backfires on him going in there, and he gets kicked out, and it's just a mess, right? Because he's still silly. So yeah, Don Juan is a very powerful character. I am very well versed in Don Juanism. I want to call it that. Because yes, he says a lot of it comes from the Toltecs, but he also says, if you read him very closely, he says, what I share is from my lineage. In other words, what he learned from, as he calls him, his benefactor, and his benefactor learned from his benefactor, the one before him. And he says clearly, each one adds to what came before. It's a living tradition. It's not static. And some changed it profoundly and add new and stuff on, right? Because they see it. Anyway, so this is Don Juanism, right? Don Juanism that I'm sharing. And like I said, I'm very well versed in Don Juanism. There's much there of value, but also much of interest that I have no way of knowing whether it's real or not, like this idea of the portal between the barrier between the worlds, right? No, I don't know about Don Juan's father. His father is not part of his lineage, no. lineage, not in the physical sense. This is a lineage of, he calls it of sorcery, but it's a Moreness lineage where you're passing on Moreness from one to the other. And his father wasn't part of this, and neither is his son or his grandson. He tries to get his grandson involved, but you can't make people choose to be involved. This is something that the spirit has to decide. And he has a gesture with his son, trying to get him to be involved in being a warrior and being impeccable, but he doesn't. So no, I don't mean lineage in that sense. It's a lineage of a tradition, a traditional lineage, and a tradition that's not like a usual tradition where tradition means you try and keep it the same. No, this is a tradition of growth and change and learning, exploration, moreness, right? Continually adding to what came before. Yeah. All right, Norma, that's a good point to say. Where are we here? We are here where she's stepping through the portal, right? To come back to it, because what I think I'll do is, Norma, I'll do a Saturday live to finish this. Yeah, because we're about halfway through now. I mean, there's so much to it. But I wanted to go through the mechanisms of capital R reading. But that I was hoping to do, Bina will help with that, because it gives me that a way to share and come back. So, but yeah, there's much to this, right? So now I'm touching on some of Don Juan's cosmology of how he understands the universe to be, right? And how he shares it with Carlos. And different traditions have different cosmologies. It's pretty cool. All right. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, Norma. I certainly did. Like I said, it makes no difference. Where are the others? Which others, Norma? I'm keen to know which others you mean. I can't think. You mean the others that come here, or the others in Don Juan's world? I don't know. I'm not sure which others you mean. Or the others in the poem. Which others before we go, Norma? The others used to come and join. Oh, it doesn't matter. I have no idea. Yeah. You mean like Ramsey and Lisa and so on? I don't know. It doesn't matter, Norma. I'm not here for people. You keep assuming I'm here, and it's like somehow bad if no one's here. It's totally irrelevant, Norma. I doing this, even if you weren't here, I would have done exactly the same thing and gone through the poem. And it would have been a huge to me. It's very valuable. I'm here and I'm sharing with the universe. Those that typically come, those are just bonus. They're extra. They're not the reason for doing this. The reason for doing this is to share, capital S, share. When we capital S share, it matters not who is there to see or hear or feel or receive the sharing. Totally irrelevant. When we capital S share, we're sharing with the universe, right? So others mean nothing, Norma. They don't matter. I'm not there for that. The fact that you are here is a profound bonus and a joy, but it's not the reason for being here, and it's not the reason for doing this. This is superiority paradigm assumes we are doing this for others, because that's how it works in the superiority paradigm. But no, not the case here with me. It's one of the hardest things to do, to realize that there can be alternative motivations to the ones that we take for granted. Like, for instance, you take it for granted, I'm doing this for people. I'm not. And you feel bad for me that there's nobody here. Don't. It's actually a blessing. Too many and it would get muddled. And also, those who are here and come here are here because they really want to be here and feel it's valuable to them and important to them. And that's who I wish to share with, right? As bonus, right? But I'm sharing with the universe, sharing with myself. So it's different reasons for doing things. I'm illustrating and representing and being very clear about alternative paradigms. See, I'm operating from an alternative paradigm. This is the intent here, to share and do things to demonstrate that there are alternative paradigms. In other words, somebody like me can do this in full knowing that there's no one here. And it doesn't matter. And you can hear from my voice and my actions and my interactions and my joy that it doesn't matter that there's no one here. I enjoy it when they are. But if I was alone, you'd hear the mourners from me, right? It's very important, Norma, to understand that there are different motivations. And particularly when it comes to me, I'm not typically motivated. It's a very, very important thing to understand. And it is what makes Nobelia work, that they understand motivation, and none of them are typically motivated either. Very, very big deal. Very big deal. All right. On that point of motivation, I shall see you on Messenger and say goodbye to everybody. And good mornings. Go in mornings, everybody. Go in mornings. Be in mornings. Sleep in mornings. Dream in mornings. Enjoy in mornings. Have mornings be your day. There's much more to come on this poem. Much more to come. There's very profound stuff in this poem. Even if I may say so myself, right? When inspiration comes and when you work at something and you take it to the end, like I did here, and make an effort to take it to the end and make an effort to perspective shift to multiple perspectives and add those layers and everything, you get something more. And this is a Moreness poem. Like I said, it's a real poem. I'll put this poem up with anybody's poem in the world. Sorry, not being egotistical. I'm just being real. Right? It's a very real poem, this. All right. End meeting for all. See you later. Yes, grin, Norma, grin. Yes, it's a big grin. It's a big grin. This poem gives me lots of joy and delight. I truly think this is something that it's a big deal, you know. And I don't like this emotion of being proud, but I appreciate this poem and think it's a Moreness poem, a real poem. All right, all right. Bye bye, bye bye. End meeting for all.